Hello, Viking fans. Welcome to this week's edition of Viking Talk with Josh Morgan. I'm Brandon Davis, and as always, glad to have with me the man of the hour, Coach Josh Morgan. Coach, good to see you.
You too, Brandon.
Lucky number 13. 13 wins over Vicksburg in a row. A 21-13 win last Friday night over division foe. And as we talked about, the 13th straight win over Vicksburg. Coach, what did you learn about your team from that game?
Well, we fought hard. I thought we played extremely hard for 4 quarters. I thought we prepared well. I thought we practiced well. I thought we were, going in and Vicksburg hasn't had a good season, and we didn't let that bother us. We knew that they were going to be a challenge, and for our boys to really prepare the way that they did and really lock in onto that particular night. I was very proud of that. I was proud of how we kept our composure and poised. And it's always big in that game, and proud to win. Proud to win. It was a big district game. It's a big game in general, and then over there at their place. So I was proud of our guys' fight. I thought we played with some toughness and physical, and really dominated the game on both sides of the football physically against a really good team. They've got some good-looking guys and physical across the board as well. So I was proud of our guys for really playing a complete 4 games physically and really dominating the game. Scoreboard didn't show it, but we really dominated the game on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, you talk about that. A very, very dominant performance on the defense. Offense, Will had over 300 yards on the offense. Defense may have been as dominant as I have seen, Coach, but penalties and turnovers really kept Vicksburg in the game.
Yep. We
talked about an 8-point game. We had 15 flags, 2 turnovers. I know that had to be frustrating for you and the coaching staff, as dominant as that game was.
Yeah, it's and this is not a knock on Vicksburg. We should have won by 3 or 4 touchdowns. That's the truth of it. When you run the ball for 252 yards, and I think they had negative 20-something rushing yards. So that's it, for them to hang in there, tip their hat to them. They did a good job of finding a way to hang in and stay close. But we've got to do a better job. We've got to do a better job with that. The late fumble at the end of the game could have been costly. Our penalties are unacceptable defensively. There's a couple of them that were hustle plays where guys were just trying to get them down and make plays in open field close to the out-of-bounds line. And guys were just hustling and trying their best to make a play. But we've got to do a better job of understanding. They're so aggressive and they're so amped up. And we've got to do a better job of being disciplined. It starts with me. I got to do a better job of making sure I got our guys' attention. And that we can't let that happen. And it really could have hurt us there, and it did hurt us. It kept us on the field, extended drives, really takes away a lot of momentum. It's like I told our guys, your performance is being overshadowed by penalties. Like you just mentioned, it's one of the most dominating defenses or performances that we've seen. And instead of people talking about our defense and talking about y'all and what a great job you did, it's the penalty cloud turns up, and so we're going to do a better job with that. And like I said, it starts with me. And I've got to do a better job of getting our guys ready to go and understanding situational football. And, sometimes face mask and stuff happens, and that's part of football. But there's a lot of things that we can be better at, and we got to clean up.
Great offensive showing the other night. You talked about it, over 250 yards on the ground. Aiden Greer had 101 of those. Eric Collins followed him with 98. You have to be extremely happy with your back's performance.
Yes, starts with our O-line. I thought they played really good. Vicksburg was in and out of an odd and even front. I thought our offensive line did a good job and really played hard. And again, Vicksburg has got a good front. And anytime you've got backs around that 100-yard mark, you've seen us be able to do that against teams in the previous in the year. And boy, when we do that, that's when we really can get clicking and really become dangerous. Play action opens up. Thought we used Maddox really well off some boots and things like that. And so very proud of our backs. Ran hard, took care of the football, with the exception of that last turnover. Ran hard. EJ, I can see him now getting that first down when we needed it to, and just tough physical yards. and they earned a lot of them. And so very, very pleased with them. Proud of them in the O-line.
Fantastic win, but more importantly, Coach, you're 2-0 in region play. You only have 5 region games now, so we don't have like we've had in the past with maybe 6. So discuss the importance of getting that win over Vicksburg.
It's big. It's big. I don't know what Vicksburg is going to do, but it's there. To me, they'll be in the playoff conversation. So that's a head-to-head win. And usually in district, when you win one, the next one becomes even bigger.
Right.
So it sets us up in a good spot. Played 2 district games, and we're undefeated so far. And so it really sets us up for the next week and puts us in the driver's seat. And we know we got to get used to being in the driver's seat. Got to want to stay there and got to fight to stay there.
This is Viking Talk visiting with Josh Morgan. You talked about it, Coach. You were in the driver's seat. Target is on your back this week. A chance to go 3-0 in a pivotal region game against Neshoba Central. What can you tell us about the Rockets?
Well, they're a proud program. Neshoba Central plays good football. They've got a really good tradition. They love football, and it's ingrained in them coming up, and they do a good job from their coaching staff up of really having a great culture and great environment for football, and they play good ball, and they have, like us, played a really tough non-district schedule with the likes of West Point, state champion, Louisville, state champion, so really they a lot like us are really battle tested and know who they are and how to win, and so we've got our hands full, and they've got a really good defense and a offense that really wants to run the football with a very good tailback. So really they remind me a lot of us in their identity and what they want to do and how they do it. So got a really good challenge for us. It's at home. The stakes are high. Playing a really good team. It ought to be a fun night.
Well, you talked about that back. Mekhi Gaddis, he's a senior. He's one of the better backs you're going to see in the state. Very shifty. A little over 1,000 yards on the season. A great game last week against Columbus to get him over that 1,000-yard mark. Coach, when you've watched the film on this youngster, what do you like about him?
Well, he doesn't go down easy. He's trying to score on every play. He's a spinner. He's a stiff armor. He'll put his hand down. He'll jump cut. So we're going to have to do a good job getting him on the ground and rallying to the football. But he's a hard runner. He's close to 5'8", 5'9", 185. So kind of that short, stocky build that really has good vision and can catch out of the backfield. So you're talking about a complete back that's really been their bell cow all year long, that really workhorse, and they get it to him in a bunch of different ways. And we've got to do a good job getting a lot of people around the ball, but also make sure we're getting him on the ground.
Will Williams is their quarterback. He's a senior. He's played a lot of ball for them. He does a good job, good athlete. Averaging about 17 points a game, but that's kind of misleading. But this is certainly a good offense you're going to see tomorrow night. Defensively, they're yielding 21 points a game, but I tell you, I like this defense when I watch the film on them. Some big bodies. Will Huffman, the linebacker, he's got 100 tackles on the season. Zach Ruffin and also I believe it's Anthony Hobson, both are going to be playing in the Al Miss game for us this year for the Mississippi squad. This is a big challenge this Friday night.
It is. It's a tough defense, and as you mentioned, they'll be one of the bigger fronts than we've seen all year long, and they do a really good job with their front three, be out of a 3-4 box, and those guys can really plug a bunch of holes, and they're athletic. They're not just big guys, so they do a good job. They're very sound, and they rally to the ball, and our strength is running the football, and that's their strength as well as stopping the run. So there's going to be a good battle there. We've got to be good staying on blocks, but we've also got to be good on the perimeter. So we're not beating our head against a brick wall all night long. We've got to make plays on the edges and do a really good job on the perimeter, whether it's short passes or outside runs. So we've got to do a good job. Feel like we have a good plan. We've got to do a good job of executing it.
Yeah, one of the bigger D lines we're going to see this year. One of the better D lines I think we're going to see this year. No disrespect to the other teams we've seen, but really impressed with them. But they've got a middle linebacker. We talked about him in Will Huffman, right? 100 tackles on the season. That tells you that the D line is doing their job to allow him to move around to make those tackles.
Yeah, no doubt. It's their pictures are pretty clear when you're taking up 2 blocks in front of you by the 3 in front of him. But they do a good job. They run to the ball. They fit well. But it all starts up front, Brandon, and they, like I said, they're physical. They're big, and we don't have the biggest O-line, but we're going to have to be good coming off the ball, working our double teams with really good leverage, and that's something that you really can't mimic in practice because we don't have 300-pounders walking around like that. But you got to do a good job with leverage and come off and really being tough all night long.
Coach Ruffin's certainly got him a good group over there. But, Coach, a chance for you to go 3-0, one step closer to a region title as we go in next week against Callaway. I know we've got to focus on this week, but going forward, and I think I know the answer to this, but going forward, do you always approach these games as playoff caliber type games?
Yes, this is, when I met with our team Monday, I brought out the 2 state championship trophies that we've been able to win here. Put them on the table and address the team because that's what time of the year it is. You're talking about the opportunity to play for a district championship and what that means to us and setting up the best road we can for ourselves in the playoffs. And, kids really responded to that and understood the point we were trying to make as a coach and staff is, we've got things that we need to get better at. We've put ourselves in a really good spot, and this game is the next big one. And it's going to carry a lot of weight because we feel like the winner of this game is going to be the district champion. And so that's how we're approaching it. And, our kids are really had a great week. I'm not so sure it hasn't been our best week. You got to guard yourself coming off of an emotional game. And that's why, Monday we set the tone very quickly and understood, and everybody knows what time it is. And we got to pick our game up because it's going to take our very best to win.
When you scheduled the season, we know all our non-region games are 7A games. You come in here, going into region player, what we've seen the past 2 weeks, offensively you're averaging 24 points a game. Defensively you're giving up 6.5. You have to be pleased with what you're seeing from this team over the past 2 weeks.
Yes, man. Pleased, but definitely not satisfied. Like we have not come close to playing our best football, and. So it's encouraging, but also frustrating. Like we've got to get there. It's another thing that we talked about in our team meeting. Like we've got to get there. Like we're running out of time to get to our ceiling. I don't think we've come close, and that's a broad statement, but it's true. I don't think we've come close to the team that we can be. We've been inconsistent on the offensive side of the football. We've been our own worst enemies a lot of times defensively. Are we getting better? I think so. I think we're getting better, but we're excited about this group. We put a lot into this group. We know what they can become and what they can achieve. It's time to get everybody on the same page as the time is now, and we've got to have a sense of urgency about chasing our best and not necessarily about our opponent, not necessarily about the scoreboard, wanting to play our brand of football the very best way that this group can, and that's what we're chasing. And once we get that, we'll let the chips fall where they may.
Well, good chance for this Friday night to get there, but a very special night this Friday night at Warren Central. Very excited about this, Coach. 60 years of Viking football going to be honored and celebrated. Special thanks, Coach Matt Williams, Ms. Arlene Smith, and so many others that are making this happen. It's going to be a great night for us here at Warren Central.
I believe so, and you're right with recognizing Miss Smith. We call her Mama Smith.
That's right.
Coach Williams. I've not had to put my hand on that at all. They've handled it, and really appreciate it because it's a big honor, and they all mean the world to us. And we're going to try to do a really good job of honoring our past teams, past coaches, and allow them and inviting them back and really turning everything over to them. And this program has impacted a lot of people, myself included, in so many ways. And it's one of the reasons that a lot of our coaches have wanted to come back here and coach because we know the impact that it had on us. Our coaches were all like father figures to us. It meant the world to us, and our teammates, and it wasn't just us, it was the past 60 years. And so we're taking that to wanting to recognize them, picking Neshoba because we knew it'd be a big game and a big night. And so it's got all the makings, and hopefully, Highway 27 will treat us all right.
Well, we're going to do our generational introductions before the game. At halftime, beginning of halftime, we're going to introduce our championship teams that won state titles, Little Dixies over the years. And Little Dixie, that was such a huge conference.
Yeah.
That was equivalent to a state title back in the day.
There's no doubt about it. And there was some, golly, talking about some teams. I'm not even going to get into names and all of that, but it was, this is a proud program, Brandon. And so people have a lot of pride in it. And that's another thing. We work so hard is for we can keep it going. Keep it going.
Right.
It's something that was built before us. We want to keep it going. So again, so we can have that same mark on people, and we can make our community proud and keep our wonderful reputation across the state that we're all proud to be associated with. So I know you're going to do a good job with it, and know it's in good hands. And like I said, it's wish we could do it more often. We don't get to do this a lot, so we're hoping for a good turnout.
It's going to be fantastic. We're going to have a great time. Hope you come out to it. A lot of people have been reaching out to me about it, so I'm excited to be a part of this and recognize these outstanding Vikings that have helped build this program to what it is today. Coach, injury-wise, you played a very tough game last week, past couple of weeks. How are we looking on injuries for this week?
Yeah, I was worried coming out after the game. We've got some bumps and bruises, but we feel like everybody will be ready to go. It's just that time of the year where you're kind of getting, you got to be able to tough things out and play tough and overcome some things. And we've got several people that are going to be doing that, but we'll have all hands on deck ready to go, and we're going to need them all as well. So we're fortunate. Got some tough guys. Tough game that we play, but they'll be ready to go. You
talked about it a little bit earlier. It's a great week of practice, but what did you see from the kids, and how did they take the teaching this week?
Well, we were not content. And it's the first thing that we talked about earlier. We felt we should have played better. It's the difference in just being content with winning and playing winning football. And I felt like we left things out there. We didn't play at our best, which is always our goal. And we let it know very quickly. Proud of them. But we got to do a better job of getting ready to play. We've got to do a better job in our performance and execution. We've got to be more consistent in what we're doing. So it was a non-satisfied. We've got to pick our stuff up if we want to do what we want to do, and that has carried us throughout the week. We've had our more physical practices. We've had guys more locked in. You can tell it, and this is where it requires that. Like you've got to pick it up, and there's going to be. We're not interested in falling off, getting complacent. We've got to go, and we've got to continue that climb and that chase for excellence, because that's what it's going to take. So we've had a good week. It's such a blessing to be able to play for a district championship at your house. Those types of things, that like just trying to make them aware of how blessed they are, and what a big opportunity that we all have sitting right at our doorstep, and let's go make the best of it.
This is a fantastic Neshoba team coming into our house this week. They do remind you a lot of us with what we try to do. So, Coach, what are the keys to beating this Rocket team?
We got to be the best version of ourselves, Brandon. And that's going to be from our identity, as you just mentioned. I think we're both out for the same thing. Who does it the best? We got to make sure that we're playing within ourselves. People not trying to do too much. That's not what we're after. We're doing our jobs, being consistent, playing at a high level. But again, your rushing yards is going to be good. We've got to do a good job of keeping their tailback in check. We've got to do a good job taking care of the football offensively. Then I think it comes down to who's been able to control that line of scrimmage for 4 quarters.
Well, Coach,
and our secret weapon, Brandon, Jonah.
Yes.
I think Jonah can we're going to give him some opportunities if we're allowed. Maybe that we haven't been when we're getting a little closer into that range. But look for Jonah to be a big part of this game.
Well, you've got such a weapon in him that he can put it in the end zone. You're not having to worry so much about return game. And I know last week, good returns on Vicksburg. He kept it in the end zone. That is a big key for us.
Yes, it is. And we never take it for granted. I don't, because we're in charge of the kickoff team. So, I'm very thankful for him. And he does a good job. And again, starting drives on the 20-yard line is really huge.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, best of luck to you.
Thanks, man.
It's going to be an exciting night. I'm so excited about this. Just honoring the past Vikings that have come in to watch them come in, introduce them. Me being from the coast, I've told you guys this before. Back in the day, we followed the Mississippi Press. When we were in high school, we watched, and we always saw Neshoba Central up there not Neshoba Central, Warren Central up there at the top in the rankings. So seeing some of those Vikings coming back when I was a little bit younger is going to be really special. We're going to put on a good show for them this Friday night.
They were my heroes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You learned a lot from them playing back in those
They're
days.
my heroes, and that's what we knew coming up. So that's what they were to a lot of people here. You know, when they have their time, their 3 years here, they were a lot of people's heroes and all the little kids, and it's just that staggering effect. And it's really one thing that ties us all together. It's really cool.
Yeah, even the people that we pulled for, we watched out on the coast when we were playing. I'm going to have a chance to see them this Friday night. That's going to be really cool and special for me. But next week we are going to have senior night. That's hard to believe. We are already talking about senior night.
Wow.
You know, we always say this. We get here and we look up and it's Thanksgiving, and here we are again this year. But next week we're going to have senior night. We'll talk about that next week. We'll be playing Callaway here at home. It'll be a special night for us. We'll talk about that more in detail then. But until then, we've got to play Neshoba. We've got to finish this off. But thank you all for your support. Thank you all for reaching out to us on this 60-year event. We are excited about that. You can't tell. We really are. But we'll talk about all that next week. Talk about Neshoba. Talk about Callaway. Look forward to senior night. But until then, I'm Brandon Davis. He's Josh Morgan. Until next week, rise up, Vikings.